Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. We have just arrived on the north bank of a fast-flowing river in a large underground cavern. That's right, we have successfully crossed the infamous river, and now we are really getting into the thick of it. The going is not going to be that easy from now on. Let's proceed. Facing northwards, the rock face is smooth and glistening with moisture. Moss of many different hues grows on the surface. There is an eerie silence, punctuated only by the splashing of the river as it flows behind us. We have three options. A passage runs off to the northwest. A large timber door is directly in front of us in the middle of the rock face, and another passage runs out along the river eastwards. Okay, the last choice we took was towards the east, so we are going to continue mixing things up, and we are taking the northwesterly route. Let's see where that leads. The short passage begins to narrow and ends a few meters ahead at a doorway. Perfect. Let's go through the door. We are in a small, foul-smelling room. We notice two doors, one to the west and the one behind us to the south, the one we entered just now. The furniture in the room is sparse and has been made mostly from bits of old boats. There appears to be nothing of value in the room, but a bunch of keys hangs on the wall. An old man in ragged clothes is slumped asleep on a bench made from half a rowing boat, snoring loudly. Next to him is a vicious-looking brown dog with red eyes and black teeth. We have awakened it, and it is eyeing us suspiciously. A deep growl is coming from its throat. First of all, this looks horribly uncomfortable. I can't believe that this guy's sleeping like that. And second, we learned from the old adventurer that the keys to the boathouse are guarded by a man and his dog, so I guess we have just found this man and his dog. Unfortunately, the dog is awake, otherwise we could sneak around and try to take some of the keys, but it looks vicious, so let's not play with it. We could get out of here, but that's not what we came here for. We could attack the dog, but it hasn't attacked us, and the guy's asleep, so I don't think this is a very nice move to make. Or we could bang on the door behind us and cough a few ahems to wake up the old man. Let's try to converse with him. He doesn't look dangerous or scary, so let's see if he's communicative. The old man's eyes flutter open. He sees us and gropes for a half-oar lying by his bench. We tell him we mean him no harm, but he remains on guard and eyes us cautiously. Although he looks harmless enough, his dog could be dangerous. The man's boots are undone. Okay, so that's a good sign. They haven't attacked us outright, which is great, even though we're in the middle of this lair, this dungeon. We could still attack the dog if we just change our mind. We could ask the man regarding our quest. Maybe he could help us, but we could also tell him his boots are undone, and that sounds like a good idea. Maybe we can gain his trust and show him that we mean him no harm, which we don't, so that's the correct approach. The old man thanks us and rather sheepishly ties up his boots. We explain that we mean no harm, and he calms down, calling off his dog. So far so good. He tells us that this area is the only passageway through to the inner chambers. Several years ago, the river swelled after a particularly severe spring thaw and cut off supplies from the outside world. All the area's inhabitants starved to death, but the master, realizing he needed defenses against the outside world, put a curse on the area. The last remaining creatures became the undead and now guard the passageways through. He starts to inquire about us. Okay, first of all, I have some questions. All the area's inhabitants starved to death. Does that include him too? So is he undead? It doesn't seem like it. Neither does the dog, by the way. Is the master, I assume he calls Zagor the master, is he undead? So what's going on here? Anyway, probably there's a lot of undead lurking around. I can't believe him so much. And he asked us a question. He inquired about us. We have three options. We can try to grab the keys and go for the nearest door, which sounds like a stupid idea. Probably the dog is fast enough to interfere. We could just leave, just like that. That would probably work, but that's not what we're here for. We could tell him that what we're here for. We're here to kill and rob his master. How about that? Let's see how he responds once we tell him the truth. You know, working with the truth is a good option in most cases. When the old man learns of our quest for treasure, he becomes angry and bids us begone. He will have nothing to do with fortune hunters. His dog senses his anger and snarls menacingly. Okay, that's only to be expected. I mean, we have just told him we are about to assassinate his master. But still, he hasn't attacked us. He looks like a nice enough guy. So I say, let's try to stay and pacify him. Maybe we can, you know, get him on our side and yeah, convert him to our cause. He will not be pacified. As we shift uneasily around the room, he shouts a word at the dog. Okay, that's bad news. What happens? The dog's eyes glow with an unnatural light. It advances quickly towards us. Its hideous black teeth are coming straight for our throat. As it leaps for us, a blast of fire shoots from its mouth right at our face. We duck just in time, but must now fight the beast. Be warned, this dog's fiery breath deals 3 damage whenever its attack is successful. Okay, so it's not a dog, it's a hellhound, obviously. We have no other option but to fight. We could still escape, but that's not how we roll, right? So let's defeat the dog and see what the man has to say to that. Okay, this dog is not so scary. I mean, hopefully he doesn't bite us or engulf us in flames many times, but its stats are not very strong. The skills level of 7. So let's go. Right? Okay. And just like that, the dog's down. Didn't even scratch us. Okay. Now the old man watches the fight but does not move unless we kill his dog. If we kill the dog, we may escape through the south door, but we will not have time to take anything with us. Or we can stay. Now that we have killed this dog. So let's go. So far we have, let's summarize. So far we have threatened his master, insulted him and killed his dog. Let's see how he reacts if we stay and try to talk to him some more. The old man is furious that we killed his dog. Astonishingly. His eyes turn white with anger. He slowly rises from his seat and, as he stands, he appears to grow in size and stature. He is changing in front of our own eyes. He sprouts hair on his face and forearms. His nose lengthens and becomes dog-like. His teeth are pointed. he is a werewolf and he advances towards us. Okay, so it seems that he's more formidable than seemed at first sight, but at least that's another reason for us to get rid of him. And he is relatively formidable with a stamina and skill level of both at 8, but he is no match for us. Right, and that was a lucky double roll. So with that lucky double roll, we are immediately triumphant. We have defeated this not so deadly foe. We regain 1 luck point for defeating the werewolf. As we look round the room, there appears to be little of use, although the bunch of keys looks interesting, particularly the one marked Boathouse. None are numbered. We may take the keys if we wish, and we sure do. We could eat some provisions, but we are not going to consume our last portion of provisions. We need no stamina at all. We are at maximum. So let's see what he was hiding behind his west door. We open the door to find the werewolf's larder, a miscellaneous collection of bones and decaying meats. The smell is nauseating, although a jar of pickled eggs seems fairly palatable food. There is enough for 2 meals worth of provisions. We head back now into the main room. Now we may go out through the south door. Okay, that's great. Now we at least have an explanation of how the werewolf survived, and no, he was not undead. He just had a larder full of disgusting food. And we have picked up 2 units of provisions. That's also great. Now we are back at 3, and we don't need to use any, so that's even better. So let's exit this place. The door opens and we find ourselves in a passage leading back to the river bank. We return to the river and may now either head for the door in the middle of the rock face or go down the passage that runs eastwards along the river bank. Okay, so we've cleared out the northwest route, and as I've mentioned before, as a general rule of thumb, we're not in a hurry, so let's not take the direct route to the north. Instead, let's go eastwards, see where that leads. The passageway runs eastwards. Ahead, we can see that a solid-looking door blocks the passage. We step up to investigate. A sign above the door reads Boathouse. The door is firmly locked, but a small barred window allows us to look inside. We can see a number of skeleton men working on building a boat of some sort. They move in a series of quick, jerky actions, rather insect-like. And they sure do look diligent, working hard at this boat. It's not a bad boat by the looks of it. Quite elaborately made. Well, we have murdered the man and his dog, and our prize was the key, clearly labeled Boathouse. So let's not use. Why not use it? Let's use it. Let's open the door and see what's inside. How the skeletons react when we enter. It should be hilarious. The key fits the lock and opens the door. We find ourselves in a large boathouse. Various boats in different stages of construction are lying around. There are 2 doors, the one behind us where we entered, and another in the north wall. As we enter, the skeletons stop their work and crane their bony necks around to look at us. They pick up planks of wood and hammers and advance towards us. There are 5 of them. We have quite a number of options. We could attack them directly. We could tell them that we are their new boss and order them back to work, which is really funny, and if it works then that must be truly hilarious. It just must be a scene. We proclaim ourselves as the boss of some boat building skeletons. That's a story to tell for the grandchildren. We can tell them what we've come to buy a boat, which is also funny. In the middle of this lair dungeon, we just appear out of nowhere with that. Or we could back out of the door into the passage. And you know what? I don't want to fight them. I don't think they're soldiers. They could be formidable, but they're basically workers. So instead of further massacres, let's just get out of here. Killing the keeper of the boathouse key was enough. So we're just going to back out of the door and check out the third option. We return to the riverbank and decide to try the door in the middle of the rock face. That's right, the only way that we have left unexplored is the middle one. Let's see where that leads. We find ourselves in a short, narrow passageway with a door ahead to the north. We try this door, okay? The door squeaks open on rusty hinges. The room is dark, and our eyes begin to adjust as we close the door behind us. We hear a shuffling in the room, but before we can react, a blow to our head knocks us senseless. We lose 2 stamina points. Wow, okay. So we've just been knocked out. But we're still alive, we survived this blow. Let's see where we end up. We awake with a throbbing head and look around. The room is about 8 meters square, with doors to the north and south. We have been dumped in the southwest corner. Standing motionless in the center of the room are 4 men. Well, at least they appear to be men. Their skin is a greeny-gray color. Their clothes are tattered and torn, and they are all staring vacantly at the ceiling. One carries a club, one a scythe, one an axe, and one a pick. They are ignoring us completely. Around the room are various peasant-style weapons, pitchforks, axe handles, pointed sticks, etc. 1 or 2 shields and several barrels. In the northeast corner there is a human corpse with a sword in one hand and a shield in the other. We move our hand up to our head to feel for signs of blood, and we are relieved to find that we are not bleeding. But just as our hand moves, the strange creatures in the center of the room turn their eyes down towards us. Okay, this fits in with the narrative that the werewolf was giving us. So obviously these are some peasants that starved to death and were reanimated as zombies. And I guess this is some kind of security or defense mechanism the Warlock employs. If somebody enters this room, they get bonked in the head by one of these guys. I don't know why they all have different weapons. This guy in the corner looks like a previous victim, an adventurer, or perhaps a soldier, so he's definitely not a peasant. Anyway, they have noticed us, so let's see what options we have. We could run out the door we came in, but that's not really an option for us because we have exhausted all other options. So unless we want to return to the skeletons, that's not a possible way for us, possible route to take. We could attack them outright, and I think that would be the correct option to choose, but we can still try to talk to them first. I mean, let's see if they can respond and if they have anything to tell us. Their vocabulary is limited to a series of moans and groans, unfortunately. They appear not to be intelligent at all. Furthermore, our conversation merely serves to attract their attention to us. They grip their weapons, and it looks as though we will have to fight them. However, there is a slim chance that we could make it to the door we came through. Okay, we're no cowards, so if it's a fight they want, then it's a fight they'll get, and this will be the last fight of their existence. I almost said life, but they're already dead. The 4 creatures shuffling towards us are mindless zombies. Their vacant eyes suggest that their actions are controlled by a will, which is not their own. We are still too dizzy to think properly, but we must act quickly. The first zombie reaches us and prepares to swing its club. Okay, let's fight them. Okay, the first zombie, it's just called zombie, has a skill level of 7. Let's dispose of him or it first. Okay, unfortunately it managed to land a blow and we didn't succeed in deflecting it, so we suffered 2 points of stamina damage. Ouch. But that was the last move he made, or it made. Okay, zombie with scythe up on the menu. It's even weaker with a skill point of 6. Should be a pushover. And it is. Now zombie with axe. Even weaker than the one before. And it's dead. I mean, dead again. Truly dead. Completely destroyed. Now, zombie with pick. It also only has a skill level of 6, so it should be once again an easy kill. Oh, and okay, we managed to draw draw a tie, but due to our double roll, it actually landed anyway, and we managed to dispose of it. Now, if you noticed, all of the zombies had their weapons along with their names depicted. So zombie with scythe, zombie with axe, zombie with pick, except for the first one who was brandishing a club. So I guess that a club is like a default weapon for the zombies. It was just called zombie. Maybe that's like the standard equipment they come with. Okay, we have defeated all 4 of the mindless creatures, only suffering 2 points of stamina damage. I say that's awesome. Plus the additional 2 points of damage that we suffered when they bonked us in the head. Still quite okay. The poor wretches lying dead at our feet almost look happy to be relieved of the burden of life. But as we look down at them, we sense that we are not the only one who knows of their deaths. We feel lucky to have survived against so many foes. We gain 2 luck points. Looking around the room, there are a few things we could investigate. Okay, so this was a great victory, and now we have some loot to consider looking at. We could take a look at the weapons, and that seems to be a very tempting option. After all, we are still using our standard sword, the standard equipment sword that we entered with. We could examine the dead body in the northeast corner, which sounds even better. That guy must have been an adventurer or warrior or soldier, whatever, and he not only seemed to have a sword, but shield and equipment as well. Or we could investigate the barrels. I'm not so fond of this idea, even if the liquids inside them are useful. Still, we need equipment more than healing potions or I don't know, water. So out of these 2 options, I like the dead body more, because then that gives us more stuff to take a look at. So let's check the dead body in the corner. We check over the body of the person in the corner. The poor wretch was obviously caught in the same way that we were, but his skull shattered under the club's blow. He wears a suit of leather armor no better than our own, holds a wooden shield on one wrist, and clutches a steel-bladed sword in his other hand. In his pockets are 8 gold pieces, and around his neck is a silver crucifix. We may take any 2 of these items. We gain 1 further luck point and 1 skill point, none of which we need. I don't know why we can only take 2 of these items, but whatever. We additionally have taken the 8 gold pieces. So, first of all, His suit of leather armor is stated to be no better than our own, so we can scratch that off the list. And he also holds a wooden shield on one wrist. Now, I'm quite positive that his wooden shield is inferior to our fancy crescent shield, even though it's not a very useful item. So let's go with the sword and the crucifix. Hopefully his sword is an upgrade to our equipment, and the crucifix must be something special, and I really don't think that this is a cursed or a negative item, so we cannot go wrong with these two options. Yep. Let's see. What are these mysterious items we have just collected? Well, I'm very curious about the sword, so let's see what it does. The sword is enchanted and will aid us in battle. It grants us a skill bonus of 2 while equipped. We gain also 2 more luck points for finding this sword, which again we don't need. We throw our old sword away. That's great! Okay, this is awesome. Now, for some reason it's listed doubly, but we have a magically enchanted sword, and this raises our skill level to 12, which means we automatically pass all skill attribute tests, and we are far more formidable in battle. So this is an excellent item. Let's see what the crucifix does. The crucifix is solid silver and worth 4 gold pieces. We put it in our backpack. I shudder to think about how we can immediately tell the price of a solid silver crucifix. I mean, we must be some real piece of work when we are not assassinating warlocks. Anyway, we're done and we have gathered some excellent items. Let's move on. A noise startles us, prompting us to leave the room quickly. We walk up to investigate the north door. I don't know what could scare us after disposing of 4 zombies and a werewolf and a hellhound and and an iron cyclops and basically a small army of orcs, but whatever, let's go. The door opens and we find ourselves in a dark crypt of some kind. The room is very large. At one end is an altar, and various coffins are strewn about the room. There is a door behind us in the south wall, and also one in the west wall. The south door is where we entered, and so it has another exit where we can proceed. This is creepy, with some interesting murals. This place gives us the creeps, but we are no cowards. We take a deep breath and we will investigate the room further. The silence is deathly. A slow drip startles us as we creep around the coffins. The altar is ornately carved and studded with jewels. Beautifully woven drapes hang from the walls, although they are threadbare in places. There are 3 coffins in the room. A creaking noise makes us whirl round, and the light from our lantern falls on the largest coffin. It is opening. As we watch, a tall man with a white face sits upright. His eyes open and fall on us. His expression changes from one of tranquility to one of abject hate. His mouth opens and a terrifying hiss comes from his throat. His teeth are wolf-like. He beckons us to come over. Okay, seems like we have just found a vampire. We could approach him as he wishes. That doesn't sound like a particularly wise course of action. We could draw our sword and prepare to fight. I don't know if these vampires are any good fighters or if they have some kind of supernatural protection. We could try to run for the west door again. It seems that we always have a cowardly way out of situations like this. Or we could reach into our bag for another means of attack. Let's try to do just that. The creature we are facing is a vampire, obviously. We have a few offensive options. Our sword will do little real damage here. A silver crucifix will hold it at bay, but will not kill it. If we have a crucifix, and we do, we may use it to escape through the west door. If we are determined to kill the vampire, we must overpower it and drive a wooden stake through its heart. We happen to have a wooden stake. We happen to have actually 5 of them. And let's try to kill the vampire with them. Using the wooden stake and mallet, we form a cross and move towards the vampire, backing it into a corner. It hisses and snatches at us, but cannot come near us. However, it is going to be tricky getting the stake through its heart. As we advance, we stumble and fall forwards. Typical. As luck would have it, the stake flies forward and plunges into the shrieking creature. Now we need to roll a luck test, but our luck is at maximum, so we are guaranteed to succeed. And we do. With impressive luck, the stake pierces the vampire's heart. It shrieks its fury and begins to shrivel. We may now look for its treasure. Hooray! The body on the floor turns visibly older in front of our eyes. The face looks 50, then 90, then well over 100 years old. The skin rots and the eyes decompose as we watch. We notice a movement coming from the creature's chest. As the remnants of the vampire decay, a small black face breaks through its chest. It resembles a small black shrew, but as it frees itself and unfurls its wings, we realize it is a bat. We lunge at it, but it flaps away into safety in the darkness. We receive 3 luck points for defeating the vampire. Great, we are back at maximum luck level. We search the whole chamber quickly. Remember, there are several other coffins there, and by several we mean exactly 2. And we find 30 gold pieces. We also discover a book, a further Y-shaped stick, a third Y-shaped stick. We may take these items, but only if we leave behind 1 item of equipment we are already carrying. Of course we do. This sounds great. I don't know why we would need a Y-shaped stick, but the book sounds interesting, so let's see. We shuffle around the items in our backpack, trying to decide what to discard. Okay. Which item will we leave behind? This is a random list, by the way. It's just stuff that we randomly picked up. We are definitely not leaving behind the Eye of the Cyclops, which is a weapon against the Warlock, or the Dragonfire spell, which might definitely come in handy. I wonder if leaving behind the lantern has any effect, but we have 3 units of provisions, so we can get rid of 1 of them at least. Let's see if that worked as expected. Yep. Okay, so 1 unit of provisions is excellent. We don't need that. We just throw the food on the ground here. Having discarded our item, we add the Y-shaped stick and book to our pack and leave through the west door. Excellent. We are now in a narrow east-west corridor. Looking westwards, we can see a crossroads ahead. We go on to the crossroads. Okay? Standing at the crossroads, we may go either north, west, or south. We came from the east, so it's like a crosshair crossroads. Now it's interesting. This is the first time we can actually go southwards. So let's see where that leads us. I know we are going away from our target, our goal, but it sounds interesting. We are in a short passageway which comes to a dead end several meters ahead of us. We may search for secret passages or return to the crossroads and follow either the passage ahead to the north or to the west. Okay, let's search for some secret passages. Let's see if we find something. Okay, we find no secret passages. We return to the crossroads. Well, that was a futile endeavor. We just wasted a few minutes bumbling about in an empty cave. But we're still not done here. Let's go westwards. We don't want to proceed north still, as long as we can avoid it. We follow the passage westwards until it turns round a corner to the south. Just before the bend is a signpost which reads, "Under construction." In front of us is the beginning of a stairway leading downwards. Only 3 steps have been built so far. A number of shovels, picks, and other tools are lying on the ground by the steps, but as we turn the corner, they suddenly flurry into action and begin working on the steps. We are now watching various tools digging and hammering as if being handled by invisible workers. A humming chant becomes louder, and we recognize it as hey ho, it's off to work we go. As we stand watching, we start to chuckle. The scene is quite amusing. We sit and watch and even manage to chat to some of the magical tools. While we relax, we gain 2 stamina points and 1 skill point. When we are finished, we turn back up the passageway to the crossroads. Excellent. This is really funny, although it's an ingenious way of creating this labyrinthine maze of his. So free labor, right? Invisible dwarf workers, I presume. Now we could go back southwards again. What happens if we go southwards? We are in a short passageway which comes to a dead end several meters ahead of us. We study the rock face carefully, but there appears to be no way through. We return to the crossroads and this time continue straight ahead northwards. Right, we have exhausted all other options. And we are back at 20 stamina. Without even having to use 1 portion of provisions. So it's excellent. Nothing can stop us now. We are following a passageway which leads ahead to the north. After several meters, it bends sharply to the east. We continue eastwards until we eventually come across a narrow opening in the north wall. We could go through this opening or continue eastwards. Again, we are in no rush to get to Zagor, so let's continue eastwards. We continue along the passageway to the east. After some 30 meters, it turns to the south. Following it round the bend, we eventually come to a stop in front of a large armored door. Okay, let's try to open it. The large solid door has no handle. We charge it, but to no avail. The door is not going to budge. We decide to give up and go through the opening we just passed in the east-west passageway some way back. Right, I guess that this door is the exit of the passageway behind the boathouse. It's unfortunate that we cannot see what it holds, but anyway, we have cleared out as much of the dungeon as we could so far. So let us proceed. We climb through the opening and find ourselves at the top of a narrow staircase leading downwards. Cautiously, we descend the stairs. The narrow staircase is cut into the rock, and there are about 20 steps leading down. At the bottom of the steps, a passageway leads into a large open chamber. This chamber stinks of putrefying flesh. The smell is so bad that we are tempted to turn back, but fortunately we don't. 3 bodies lie in the chamber. We may either search the corpses or tiptoe quietly through the room. I don't know why we would have to tiptoe when these people are obviously dead. But anyway, we are not simply robbers and assassins, we are grave robbers, so let's search the bodies in order. I mean, first, second or third. Let's start with the first body. Let's see what it has on it. We find 5 gold pieces in the pockets of the corpse, and we gain 1 luck point, obviously, because looting rotting corpses is always a lucky move. Now let's search the second body. As we move over towards the second body, we accidentally kick the 3rd corpse on the floor. Its eyes flick open and it quickly sits up and slashes at us with its long, sharp fingernails. It's quite disturbing. But to be fair, it doesn't look that dangerous. We need to perform our luck roll, and we are once again guaranteed to succeed. So we do. We were lucky and the creature missed. The creature now standing before us is a semi-decayed man. His quick eyes dart from side to side, watching us. His long tongue flashes out with a hissing noise. His teeth and nails are sharp, and he doesn't seem to be afraid of our weapon. He is a ghoul. He has the ability to paralyze and kill us if he scores 4 separate wounds on us during this battle, so beware. Okay, this is at least, this looks dangerous. Let's see what attributes it has. Well, it has a skill level of 8, which would be quite okay, but with our enchanted sword that we just picked up from that dead guy, we have a skill level of 12, so this should be easy going. In any case, I'm going to use up some luck rolls here, and for some reason it was not deducted when previously we just performed a luck attribute test. So we are guaranteed to succeed at least the first time. Let's try again. If we fail, by the way, the ghoul would retain 1 extra stamina point, so it would have 2 stamina points left, which would still mean that we would be able to kill it in 1 blow. And we succeed. And it's even more dead than it was before. The ghoul twitches and dies at our feet. We search its body and find little of interest. A couple of earrings worth 1 gold piece between them are in one of its pockets. We take these. We also gain 2 luck points for killing the ghoul, which is great because that's what we needed. We could consume some provisions, but that's not needed. And yeah, and now we have these earrings worth 1 gold piece. And after adventure, we can sell these earrings in the black market, and we will never have to tell them, anybody as the buyer, we will never have to tell anybody that we found them in the pockets of a rotting ghoul. That's the real neat part of the black market. Before we leave, let's search the second body. So far this room has been quite generous for us. We search the pockets of the other body and find 8 more gold pieces, a bottle of liquid and an old piece of parchment. We take these items and we are going to read the parchment immediately. The parchment is well worn and almost illegible. It is a map of some sort headed the Maze of Zagor. Okay? We can make little sense of it, although a room to the north is marked Ger, I assume it is danger, and another to the east is marked whatever that means. We fold up the map and put it in our pocket. Okay, so we have the Maze of Zagor ahead of us, I presume, and in the north there is a room which is supposedly dangerous, and there is another room to the east which contains something. Alright, we fold up the map and put it in our pocket. We have not yet drunk the liquid, and remember, the best option to go for when you find some kind of liquid in the pockets of a semi-decayed man is to drink it. So that's what we're going to do. We swallow some of the liquid, okay? The liquid is smooth and watery, and as we drink it, we begin to glow. We feel euphoric and a little drunk at the same time. Our confidence grows and our weariness disappears. The bottle contains holy water, blessed by the overpriest of Kainlesh Ma. It has restored our stamina and skill to full strength. We also gain 4 luck points for making such a lucky find. Wow, no comments. We are back at maximum stat levels, and I really feel that nothing can stop us now. We have an enchanted sword, a decent shield, we have a bunch of items, and we are at maximum levels of everything, so let's leave the room northwards and tackle the next upcoming challenges. We leave the chamber, walk down a short passage and reach a staircase going up. We climb the stairs and arrive at the top in a passageway. At the top of the stairs, the passage turns sharply to the east. As we pause to get our bearings, we hear a creaking in the rock behind us. We spin round in time to see a heavy portcullis drop to seal off the passageway behind us. Our only way now is forward. Alright. I don't know if it was an automated trap or if it was the work of Zagor, but if this happened due to some action by the Warlock, then I just want to tell him that we are not locked in with him, he is locked in with us, and we are coming for him. So this, if he actually intentionally did this, then he just made a wrong move. However, our delivering sweet justice will have to wait, because this looks like a great time to make the cut in the video. I am going to stop right here. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time when we continue on from here. Bye bye.